In this video, I'd like to share with you how I made this pretty dishcloth using a stitch style I learned recently, the rice stitch. It's perfectly textured and it gives the project just the right thickness it needs to do its job. I also added a decorative edge to give it a pop of color. For this project, you'll need light worsted and fingering weight cotton yarn, a 4mm crochet hook, stitch markers, a darning needle, and a pair of scissors. Get everything you need and we can start. So I've got my 8-ply cotton yarn here, and I'll start with an odd number of chains. I won't make a full size just yet because that will take me forever, but I'll make 17 chains just to show you how it works up. Once you've got your odd number of chains for your foundation, look for the third chain from your hook, not counting the loop currently on your hook. So just count 1, 2, 3, it's this one, and work a double crochet into its back loop. And just keep going, making double crochets all the way across every back loop. After working double crochets into all the back loops of the foundation chain, you should have an odd number of stitches. It's usually -2 from the total count of your foundation chain. Here I have 15 double crochets, not counting the chain 2 we skipped. To continue, just chain 1 and turn your work. In the immediate first stitch, make a half double crochet to start the new row. You will always start with a half double crochet in each row. In the next stitch, we will work a front post double crochet to begin making the rice stitch texture. And then we will just alternate it with a back post double crochet for the rest of the row. Now, we've got 2 stitches left. You should always be working a front post double crochet in the second to the last stitch if you've got an odd number of stitches. And into the very last stitch, work a half double crochet. So, you will always start with a half double crochet and a front post double crochet, then end with a front post double crochet and a half double crochet. And again, to make a new row, just chain 1 and turn your work. As I've just said, start with a half double crochet, then work a front post double crochet with a stitch that now appears as a back post double crochet. Into the next stitch that looks like a front post double crochet, work a back post double crochet. We'll be working in opposites here and alternate between the two until we reach the end of the row. We are down to our last 2 stitches here, and the second to the last stitch might be hiding a bit, and just like before, we will be working a front post double crochet into this back loop. and follow it with a half double crochet into the very last stitch of the row. I know this piece still looks small, but the longer your foundation chain is, the more apparent the woven style texture of the rice stitch will be. I have here a larger scale of the project, so I started with 39 chains and worked up to about 20 rows to meet the 8 by 8 inch width and length for a square dishcloth. You can make your project as long or as big as you want, really. Then on the sides I have stitch markers. They were placed in the back loops of the turning chains I made for every row, just so I don't get lost once I start with the etching. That said, let's start adding the decorative edge. Just take your fingering weight yarn and start with a slip knot to join it with the piece you've just made. You can start in any corner, but I'd like to show you how to deal with the sides of the rows because it can be quite tricky. I'll take this marker off and start in that corner with a single crochet and then I will chain 2. This will be counted as the first double crochet. And in the same back loop, I'll work a double crochet and then chain 2 and add 2 more double crochets into that same stitch. In the next turning chain back loop, we will work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. In fact, this is the cluster you will be repeating for the rest of this side. Now, the design should look kinda like this. It'll just be adding more in the succeeding back loops. Just have to work them into every back loop here. Every time you reach the next corner, just work a slip stitch into the first stitch of the new edge and chain 3 as your first double crochet. Then continue making the cluster. So that's 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochets into the same stitch. Oopsie, I forgot to pull that yarn. Just repeat it. So make the last double crochet. And then from here, we're going to skip 2 stitches and work the same cluster of 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets into that same stitch. So, you will just repeat this etching style for the rest of the remaining edges of the dishcloth. I now have here the finished dishcloth with the etching. I've also hidden the loose ends to make it look nice and neat. I absolutely love this project because it looks really pretty and it's also super functional. If you've got plans to give this item as a gift, I encourage you to make a set because it looks great with other colors. That's pretty much it. You can get the written pattern for this project on my blog. And for more crochet inspo, don't forget to follow me, The Morning Cooker, on Instagram. Thanks for watching!